Это граница Москвы.
Мгм.
Граница. Это Москва. Это не Москва.
Да.
Это центр.
Мгм.
И я живу здесь.
Окей.
А там чуть-чуть уже, немного задач осталось. И он сказал, я думаю, я смогу
Мгм.
доделать до конца эти задачи.
Мгм.
Если он доделает эти задачи, это значит, что мы готовы открыть сайт для первых бета-тестеров.
Окей.
Вот.
Hello, Daniela.
Привет, Инна.
So today we are going to discuss your progress
Мгм.
in
Yes.
learning Russian. I will ask you questions, first of all, about you, about your personality a little bit and your goals,
Мгм.
then your current progress, your learning style, and finally, in the end, you could describe your current results.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Okay, fine. So, Daniela, how old are you?
I'm 54 years old.
This is not a question for nothing. I think a lot of students could be interested if age influences our abilities of learning a language. Only that's
Of
why I'm
course.
asking. What is your
Of
native
course.
language?
My native language is German.
And you also speak English? Anything else?
Yes, I speak English and Catalan, and I understand Spanish. So,
Do you have an ear for music?
yes, I love music. And actually, I'm a singer too. So I'm singing. Yeah, a soprano. Mhm.
Okay. So I'm asking this also because I have a little hypothesis that maybe influences somehow our ability to hear the language, its intonations, sounds, maybe a little bit better.
Yes, it might be.
Okay. Why did you start using comprehensible input or ALG method, and with what language?
Yes, I started using comprehensible input to learn or to acquire Spanish. And after a very short time, I noticed that I really like this way to listen and to learn a new language. And then I decided, yes, very soon I would like to start with Russian. Simply because it's so different. Since I speak Catalan, Spanish is very close, and I made a very fast progress in my listening comprehension. So I decided, well, let's give it a try with Russian. And since I'm a teacher to a language teacher, I was really very curious if it works or not. So I started with Russian.
Okay. And what were your results with Spanish at that time?
At the time, when I started with Russian, I already had perhaps 6 weeks with Spanish, and my progress was very fast. So at that time, I started with the beginner videos, and after 6 weeks, I already could follow intermediate videos. Yes, and I think this is just because it's so close to Catalan.
Your Catalan was already advanced, right?
Yeah. Advanced level. Yeah.
I see. Okay, what are your goals for learning Russian? What is your final goal? Which level would you like to achieve?
For me, the most important thing is to reach fluency. And fluency for me means to be able to speak without thinking. Without thinking, to be able to speak, to communicate, and to well, listening comprehension as well, not to understand the people. It doesn't mean it doesn't have to be perfect. So the grammar doesn't have to be perfect, but yeah, fluency.
What about reading and writing?
Yes, reading and writing as well. Yes. For me, this includes everything so that I can communicate in all ways, taking phone calls, writing emails, reading books or papers or articles, whatever.
Do you have any time frame for that to achieve this goal?
I'm quite relaxed, so I'm not under pressure. So perhaps 3 or 4 years, more or less, or 5. Yes, this is my idea. I think it should be possible.
It very depends on how much you study every day.
True.
And that's another question. What was your initial daily goal for listening?
My daily goal was 1 hour a day, more or less. Yes,
1
because
hour
at the
a day.
same time, no, I'm learning Spanish with another amount of time, so that's why I decide 1 hour at the moment.
Every day.
Every day, yes.
Okay. What about your current progress? Well, first of all, input. How many hours of input do you have at the moment?
At the moment, I have 370 hours of input, more or less.
It's only listening, or there is some reading as well?
No, it's only listening. So listening to podcasts and watching videos.
Is all of that listening active, or is there a part which is passive, or even radio mode? That's how I call it. Active listening is when you pay all your attention to what you're listening to. Passive is listening where you put maybe from 15 to 80% of your attention. So maybe you're doing something, you're walking, cooking, taking a shower, I don't know, anything, some mindless tasks. And the radio mode is when you practically don't pay any attention, but the audio is in the air, like a radio. So your input, what does it include?
My input is 100% active, concentrated listening and watching videos.
Nice. Okay. Do you have any idea about the level of your comprehension? What I mean here is how well you can understand native level content, if you ever tried.
If I'm listening, for example, to TV series or TV program with pictures, it very much depends, of course, on the series. And if I watch it once, one time, or several times, because it helps me to watch it several times, but it depends between 25 and 20%, actually. So if I watch it for the first time and there are lots of new words and they talk very fast, it's perhaps 5%, and I understand some words, some phrases. But it can be also 20%. Yeah.
Depending on the content. We are talking about native content made for natives, which is not, it is not comprehensible. It is not made for students. Natives for natives content, you understand from 5 to sometimes 20%. Okay, what is your current consistency? Well, what has been your current consistency for the last year? I mean, how many hours a day you managed to do? Because your daily goal was initially 1 hour. Did you manage to do that? And how many days a week you usually listen to Russian?
So of course, in total, no, I have more or less 410, 420 days of learning. I don't know the exact days right now, today. And it's, well, I daily watch. So the whole year I really watched daily with few exceptions, very few exceptions. So the average of my watching listening time is 50 minutes a day. So more or less I reached my goal.
Practically every day. Great.
Yes.
Very
Yes.
disciplined student.
Very motivated, but I really like it. So it's just fun.
That was my next question. What is your motivation at the
Yeah,
moment?
my motivation is high. No, I have a goal to learn Russian. So because I would like to go to Russia and to speak to people, and I like the language and I like the progress and I like that I'm able to understand every day a little bit more. And so, and it's just fun watching the videos and to understand them, to explore this new language, no? So, and the
By the way, do you feel progress really every day?
every day, well, I said this, no, right now, every day, perhaps not every day, no, it depends, no, how much. Sometimes I really watch 2 hours, no, a day, and then of course I notice something, no, but not really every day, no.
Do you feel sometimes frustrated?
Well, I feel frustrated when I'm watching videos for native speakers and I would like to understand, I cannot understand. But in my case, it's more, it even motivates me more to continue because I really would like to understand. So it's not really a frustration that I'm getting angry. It's more like, wow, I would like to understand. So what can I do?
I see. Okay, this is not something that stops you, but
No,
motivates you even more.
Yeah, to the
I
contrary.
see. And by the way, what about measuring your level of comprehension? I want to discuss this a little bit because this is the first video we are making about a study case, and maybe some of our viewers will be interested, like, how do you measure this? What is this? We've heard about measuring input hours, but what is this level of comprehension? Let me say just a few words about this. I am offering to measure your comprehension level is that you have a control video once in a while. Let's say maybe every 25 hours of input or any other quantity that you like. But it would be nice if you have it regularly. So you take a video made by natives, for natives, and you watch it. Should be something about everyday life, something not too specific. I mean, the subject of the video should not be too specific. It should be some kind of slice of life, everyday life theme. So you choose a content like that, you watch it, and then you measure your level of comprehension. You just say, how much of meaning I have understood. Meaning. Did I follow the idea or not? And you measure it with percents. So I've understood maybe 5%, as Danielle said, or 20% or 80%, which indicates your level of comprehension. And that's another way to measure your progress. you can mark it and then watch your stats in time. Okay, let's move on. What about your learning style? I have some questions here. Have you been speaking?
Well, just a few words, no. So from time to time, sometimes it comes up. So when something comes up, or the usual phrases to greet each other, to ask how are you, some words, no, yes and no, or I understood, something like this, no? Да,
Just a few
нет.
words.
Yes, да, нет, привет, как дела, хорошо, понятно, things like that.
So not really more than maybe 10 words, but those words are, well, those are words you are used to, right?
Yes, конечно.
Exactly. Okay, so how long ago have you started outputting?
You mean at what time I would like to start speaking?
No. When did you start saying those words out loud? Is it recently or from the very beginning?
No, not from the very beginning. I would say perhaps 2-3 months ago. So yes, I would say perhaps in October, something like this. And then I was about 250 hours of input, more or less, I would say. Well, da and yet, of course, these words I said earlier, no? But then when I started regularly from time to time to use the words, well, more or less, I think.
As I remember, initially you were not planning to speak early. You would like to wait until a certain amount of input, which was higher than 250 hours. What made you actually start outputting? And well, what made you change your mind?
So it was more the idea that I would like to start speaking in the moment I have a clear image of the word in my head, and it comes automatically without thinking. So I don't plan to speak in that moment. It just comes automatically. So, and this is for me, this means the method, no, to a language growth, and when it comes automatically, you can also start speaking. So I don't need to restrict myself and say no, you're not allowed to speak, because of course the final idea is to speak, no, and to communicate. So this was simply this. It comes automatically.
So this automatical natural impulse is a green light for speaking for you.
For me, yes.
Okay.
Because then at the moment when I'm outputting and I say the word, it sounds exactly like I have it in my head and I think it's correct. So then I speak it because it's just there. Like all the words in the other languages that are in my head. And sometimes it happens unconsciously.
What about writing?
No, I don't write at the moment. And also reading is still hard. I do it, but it's the challenge.
I see. What about memorizing vocabulary with the help of word lists, flashcards, SRS apps, anything like that? Have you been doing this?
Nothing.
Have you been studying or exercising grammar?
No, nothing like this.
Have you been analyzing language logic in your head while listening?
Not consciously, no.
Have you been using translations?
Well, a few times, 2 or 3 times that I thought, well, now I would like to approve if your idea is correct. So, but then in the moment when I already had an idea of, it could be like, it could be this one, or I would like to know the translation.
Only, only in cases when you got really itchy about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Are you really right? Is it this? Yes, just one word. Hmm.
Mhm. Have you been using Russian subtitles?
Yes, from time to time. From time to time, I use it and I try. And normally, I noticed that it distracts me from listening. So then, so I tried, and then my concentration is fading from, and it is just a bit more difficult to follow and to try to understand at the moment. Yes.
Can you say that you're kind of starting reading more than listening and just not hearing anything?
Yes, it depends. No, if it's a video which is very simple and there are only some words, then it's no problem. So something for children and there's only just orange, red, blue. Of course, this is possible. But if it's a whole sentence and with long Russian words, I'm not that familiar with the alphabet at the moment. So then I'm still more on a level of a child who's starting to learn reading. So then I concentrate on reading and not on listening. So
Hard to do two things at the same time.
yes,
So the brain
yes,
chooses something.
yes, and my focus is on comprehension at the moment. I would like to understand. So it's not on reading at the moment.
Have you been using native language subtitles or any other language subtitles?
No, 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 no.
Looking up words?
No.
Only 2-3 times when you use
Yes,
translation
exactly.
for that.
Exactly. And the same time happens, no? When I think I tried once to put English subtitles in a video about in a topic what was really interesting to me, but then I don't listen to the Russian language anymore. I think this would be then like radio, something in the background.
Radio mode.
Radio mode, yes.
Okay, that's a good point. A lot of questions like this about subtitles. Should we read subtitles? What language should we use when we read subtitles? What is your opinion, by the way?
So for foreign subtitles, so English or German or Spanish, whatever, it happens that I don't pay much attention to the Russian anymore. Or of course I hear the Russian's melody and the language, but I don't pay attention to the expression, how to express in Russian, to the structure, to the different way of expressing yourself. It's just something like radio mode in the background, like listening to Russian music in the background. When I put Russian subtitles, and I know the words, then it's okay because then I immediately recognize the word in the written form, or I hear the word and I see, it's written like this. Then it's helpful. But I think in my case, on a higher level, so I can do it with easy content. And then I recognize the words and it's helpful to learn reading. But I would do this with A1 videos at the moment, zero beginner videos, children's content, something like this. And yeah, in general, and if it's a native video with and I put Russian subtitles, it's like I said before, distracts me from trying to understand and follow the red line.
So first it distracts you from listening. Second point is that you use Russian subtitles only on the lowest levels, actually not to look up words or finding out the meaning of words or sentences, but to learn reading, associating a written version with the audio version of
Yes.
of a word. And well, that's it, I guess.
Yes, I think I would like to add, I think if you already know the Cyrillic alphabet and can fluently read it, it might be different. No, because if I put Spanish subtitles, of course, it's much easier for me. No, so then, but in my case, because I don't yet know to read and to the Cyrillic alphabet fluently, this is why. No, I'm still a very beginner in reading this alphabet. So that's why in my case, this is very, very difficult and distracting.
Okay, thank you. And what about watching content which is 2 or more levels higher or lower than your current level? Have you been doing this?
Yes, I'm watching videos from time to time who are lower than my current level, just to listen to it and to know, wow, do I understand everything 100% and to get really the meaning of it. And of course, I'm also watching videos on a higher level from time to time to see, well, how much did I improve? Can I understand it now? How much can I understand? So I'm doing this from time to time. And I take notes now of the progress and the difference.
So you do this only for the sake of self-testing?
Sometimes also out of curiosity, because there's something that I'm really interested in and I would like to understand.
Some
So
interesting topic.
yes, exactly. Yeah. And then from time to time, I come back to this video. Perhaps now I can understand it. Last time it was not possible, but now.
How much of that content have you been listening and watching to in percent?
How do you, in general, from all the hours?
What is the proportion of the content that matches your current level and the content that does not match?
But that would mean which level I am at the moment, more or less. So when I'm listening or watching content that is made for A2, let's say in this levels A1, A2, and B1, partly B1, I'm able to follow easily. It depends a bit because, of course, the content creator, they put these levels, but this differs. So then sometimes I decide, well, no, this is not B1, this is A2 or vice versa. No? So more or less in this. So for beginners and lower intermediate, I would say I can follow more or less 90%, 100%. If I listen to something in intermediate, B1, B2, it very much depends on the topic. If it's something I have listened, a topic I know something about or have listened to it before, it might be go up to 30, up to 50%. And then if I'm listening to native or C1, C2 videos for natives, or even for content created for learners, for advanced learners, it depends on the issue, but sometimes I understand up to 20, 30%. And when I'm speaking about understanding, I mean really understanding. I don't mean just the that I can follow and know what's going on. I mean understanding in terms of words. So if we are talking about understanding, I know what's going on, then it's much higher. So when I was talking about now, I'm listening, for example, I was watching today and yesterday a series for native speakers. And when I say I understood 5%, this means 5% of the words and sentences I can understand. But I can understand much more in terms of I know what's going on, what's happening, what are they doing, you know? So then it would be like, wow, much higher, perhaps like 60%.
I see. Okay.
Because the
Yeah.
pictures, of course, they help. If it's just a
Yeah.
podcast, no, it's different.
Mhm.
But if it's a video,
Yeah, that's a
all
good
the
point.
scenes and pictures helps a lot.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Context helps. That's right.
Exactly. Yes. Mhm.
Mhm. So if we say that all the content you watch is 100%,
Hmm.
what would be the percentage of the content that matches your current level and that does not match, which is higher or lower than your level?
Hmm. So at the moment, it's a content A1, B1.
No. The
Oh,
question is, so you mostly watch the content that matches your level, right?
yes.
So your level is about A2, maybe in comprehension, let's
Yes.
say.
Yes, more or
Um,
less.
So mainly you watch the content that matches this level, A2, but sometimes you go to 0 beginner just to check. And sometimes you go to B2 maybe just to check on native level, right?
No, mainly I watch video a bit higher of my current level.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes, so
mainly.
but sometimes you said from times to times you watch something that really differs from your level, right?
Yes, exactly.
How much of that is there?
Okay, I understand. Um, mm, it's hard to say in percentage, but I think, and it depends on the day. So usually I tend, if I'm tired, I tend to watch easier on content. And if I'm just more awake and concentrated, I tend to watch more content like for like a bit higher than my level. I would say perhaps, well, 20% might be 10 to 20%. It's easier level, and perhaps 30% is my level. 30, 40%, 50% is higher, more or less like this.
Mhm.
But this is really hard to say because it really depends a lot on my day, on my motivation, and it
Mhm.
can be that there are weeks with 100% on my level or higher.
I see. Okay, thank you very much.
Hmm.
Let's now move on to your results.
Mhm.
So I have a few prepared questions. Have you started distinguishing separate words and phrases?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. That is
Long
for a
time
long
ago, I
time.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, this question is relevant for beginners,
Mm.
zero beginners and beginners, but still. Okay, have you got used to intonations and sounds of Russian language?
Yes.
Have you started having dins in your head?
Something
What is a
like
din?
words
Yeah,
pop up, no? Yes,
right.
sometimes this happens, and this is why then when this happens, sometimes also when we speak that I use a Russian word, or when I speak with other Russian speakers. So
Mhm.
then in that moment, and well, I speak the word. And sometimes it happens, no? I even more the first time dreamt in Russian. So
That was my next question.
yeah.
Uh-huh. So you
Yes, it
once dreamt
happens.
in Russian.
Exactly. This was really amazing. It was a very funny dream that my
Uh-huh.
son was speaking Russian to me.
I see.
And the people said, no, you don't. You have to speak German to your mother. And said, no, let him speak Russian so I can learn faster.
Oh, that's great. Okay, well, a few words about dins in the head. It's a term to describe something that happens to many learners, well, maybe to all the learners. When you listen, especially when you listen to a lot of input, So when you're not listening to input and just living your life, suddenly you have your target language word popping up in your head, or even a whole phrase like going through your head, and you're just listening to it. You were not asking for that. You were not trying to recall this word or to build a phrase in your head. Nothing like that. So it happens automatically, just pops up like this, and we call it dings in the head. Okay, what about mimicking sounds, words, or phrases? Have you been doing that from the beginning or maybe later at some point?
How do you mean this? Just repeating phrases, something like I hear a phrase and
Even just a sound.
Just a sound. Sometimes,
Even
yes. Yes, just to trying how does it feel, how to pronounce, how to move the tongue, the yes. From time to time.
A little experiment.
Yes, exactly.
When did it start happening?
I think very much from the beginning.
Did you want
Yes.
to do it naturally, or you thought, oh, that's a good thing to do?
No, just naturally. I would like to well, I know the word, and I would like how does it sound in my ear and how to pronounce. And I also find it really helpful. I don't know if this is another question, just to observe native speakers how they form the mouth, the lips, so the movement. No, it's more open, more closed to pronounce the sounds. That's for me. That's why for me it's very important to see the speaker.
Articulation.
Yes. Because this is very different. This is very different in every language, no?
Yes, that's true. Of course, of course. That's another question as well for, well, should we train speaking or not, and when? That's the biggest question, of course, for everyone, especially for those for input learners. And I'm really standing on the side of that you need at some point, that's a question when, but you need to start training your muscles, your facial muscles, and training your articulation to get used to produce those kind of words. Because even if you have a very correct audio idea of how words should sound, like you can have this perfect ear for music, but you cannot sing well, right? The same, and you have to train that. So the same here, you can perfectly hear how it should sound, but you can just not produce it because you're not used to it. Your muscles are not used to it. So that's important.
Yes. Yes.
Do you recognize sometimes some words in the language, even if you don't know their meaning?
Yes. Yes. That happens very often. And then I think, "Oh, I would like to know what is it? What does it mean?" I hear it so often. And I'm waiting
what do you do?
Well, I just wait for the moment one time I will understand it. So it, as I said before, it happened 2 or 3 times that in a moment like this, I decided, I think I will take a dictionary and look for the word if I noticed, oh, there's no progress, but I really would like to understand the context. But no, at the moment, I'm patient and just think, well, okay, again, this word. And again, this, and it also happened to me in the past, and now I have the experience. One day you will understand it, and then it's just here. So it's just here like the words in other languages or my native language. So it's really manifested in my brain. So when it happens like this, no, and sometimes
So,
this is the meaning.
Is that right if I say that you just let the control, you let it away, and you don't try to control it, right?
Yes, right. And just more like a flow and with the risk that there's a misunderstanding. Sometimes it happens, then I think, whoa, it's something different than you thought.
Mhm.
No? And yes.
So you tolerate the
Exactly.
ambiguity while
Mhm.
while trying to understand something. Mhm.
Yes. And in
Yeah.
most cases, I already understand the context, so I know what's going on there. I know it, but it's just a word I heard so often, and I sometimes would like to really exactly know it.
Mhm. I see. Is there anything you would like to add to describe your progress and results?
Well, at the moment, I think we covered everything. Yes, one thing I think might be interesting. So we were talking about content, about comprehensible input. In my case, it's not only watching videos, because I'm also doing crosstalk. So I
Mhm.
think this is very important to explain. Crosstalk means I'm regularly meet up with people with Russian native speakers, and it's like this, that I speak my native language or English, and the other person speaks Russian to me. So we interact in our languages, in our native languages. So my input in this case is 100% Russian, and hers, because all my partners are female, is 100% English or German. And at the moment, this is about 15% of my comprehensible input I'm getting. So, and this is where I found this very, very helpful to increase my understanding. Yes,
Mhm. How could you explain that?
I'm well, because normally it's very personal, because we talk about topics that are really relevant to us, that are touching
Mhm.
emotionally. I'm more engaged in these conversations. And I'm, of course, because it's something I would like to explain, I would like to understand. And I think it's the engagement, yeah, that
Mhm.
I'm really
Mhm.
in.
So
Mm,
you count the time that you spend with crosstalk as
yes.
input.
Yes, I counted 100% as input, although, of course, perhaps half of the time or a certain amount of time I speak English, but I counted 100% as input, because it's not something that I talk about a topic and the other person is talking about a completely different topic. No, it's something that goes together. It's a question and answer. So it's, for me, it's one theme, one issue. So I counted.
Mhm.
So.
Well, what about the time while you are speaking, you're not getting input at that moment?
Well, in that moment, I try to make myself understandable to the other person, so it's part of the conversation.
Mhm. Okay.
So
Will we
for me, I
maybe
count it. So if someone is very, very strict and said, no, this is not comprehensible input Russian, then
Mhm.
actually I have a bit less than 317 hours. But that would mean
Uh-huh.
that my progress is even faster, because I think, yeah.
Uh-huh. That's an interesting question to study, actually. I hope that when we have more cases, we can analyze and see if how exactly we should count crosstalk. 100% input, or maybe half, or maybe somehow.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's the way you are taking is even a little bit on the pessimistic side, right? So you count everything, it's 100%, and you are at 370 hours, which corresponds to this kind of level. But if we count crosstalk as less input, it means that your progress would be even better. So you are careful with that.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
But I think crosstalk, perhaps I should even do more crosstalk. I think it's much more, it pushes me much more, I think. So when I started crosstalk really doing regularly, 3 times a week, I noticed a really an increase of understanding.
Mhm.
Although the part of crosstalk was little, no? But I noticed it was during a time I had a crosstalk every week with one person, 1 hour, 3 times a week. And that was, in that moment, I really noticed a huge increase of understanding.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hmm. Because
Very
these people
good.
are not teachers, they are just speaking and yeah.
I see.
Hmm.
Thank you. Last question. What tools do you use for tracking your progress?
Well, I very much, I simply, write down, I have just an Excel list and write down the time. So normally when I start watching a video, I have my watch or and I start and it's counting. And when I finish, I stop and I write down the time. And then, of course, to up to 5 minutes. I don't count every minute. So if it's 24, I say 25. If it's 21, I say 20 minutes, so more or less, no?
Mhm.
Yes, that's how I'm doing it. And then I write it down every day. And I also take notes, which channel I'm watching, which podcast, more or less, some steps. Not too much because it's also a lot of time consuming to write down all these steps, but
Mhm.
so a little bit.
Mhm. Just
Mm.
what kind of content it is, if it's this or that
Yeah.
channel on YouTube or something else,
Yes.
or you're doing crosstalk.
Yes. Crosstalk always, my lessons as well always, then the YouTube channel, and sometimes even the specific video, no? Which one?
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Mm.
And also, do you mark if you have been watching a control video to measure the
Yes.
comprehension level?
Yes. I'm doing this from
Mhm.
time to time, watching the control videos that I choose at the beginning, and then I take notes. Yes, from
Mhm.
time to time I did this after 20, after 25, after 50, 100. Then I start to watch one of these control videos and write down the percentage of how much, how many words did I understand.
Mhm.
I would say so a recommendation I would give to people who would like to start this and even to do this with control videos. I would choose control videos without images, so just a podcast and not a video with images, so not a TV series or YouTube video. Because if it's a podcast and you're only listening, I think it's more authentic to know how much am I really understanding, no?
Yeah, that's
So
a cleaner result.
yes, although in the beginning it might be very difficult and a bit boring to listen and you only understand one word. Da, or niet.
Yeah. Okay, I see. Well, Daniela, thank you so much. I think we've described maybe everything or almost everything about how your progress is going. We've talked about your learning style, about your goals, about your results, what you do from day to day. We will continue watching your case because Daniela and I, we make crosstalk together every week. And I hope I will be able to watch you progressing further. And we will meet again and measure your progress again, and we will talk and describe what's happening to your learning again, so that our viewers can also compare maybe with their own experience and think, well, I'm doing okay, it's fine, or maybe not. So thank you very much, and yeah, we will see each other another time. Also, maybe I would take a moment here for everyone watching to tell you that these kind of tools to track your progress, to measure your comprehension level with control videos, and anything that could help analyzing your progress, tracking your progress, keeping your motivation. I am trying to pack all those tools on a platform that we're developing at the moment. So I really, really hope that very soon all of you will have access to that platform, that we will launch it finally, and you will be able to track your input hours, measure your comprehension level, and actually many other little useful tools that I will talk about in other videos. Daniela, thank you again so much. I hope this will be useful for everyone. And I wish you luck in learning Russian.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Inna, for having me here to share. I'm very happy to share my experience with all of you. I hope it was helpful, and I can encourage you to, yes, to continue with your way on learning Russian. Thank you
Thank you very
much.
much. Have a good day.
Have a good day.